Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the
Geek Buddies! Hey!
We're back at it with our end of the week episode here on the channel, and it's going to be holding down the fort today. It is me, the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always. Well, there used to be Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by the man himself, Shannon McClung. Shannon, how are you? How are things? How are you feeling?
I am okay, Johnny. You know, we were talking off mic just now that after we record, I get to do a fun Zoom thing for the movie, and we start shooting next week.
That's great. I'm excited to hear stories from the set once you're able to talk about it. And I think a lot of our fans are going to be very excited to hear the project that you're involved in. We cannot talk about it, but certainly when the time comes, it'll be a lot of fun. And maybe some eagle-eyed viewers have already caught you, but we'll see. We'll see.
That is correct. There is footage of me out there on a post from a movie about a thing.
But we're not going to give you any clues beyond that. But Michael can't join us today because Michael is traveling. So it'll be me and Shannon hold down the fort. Just like earlier this week, it was Michael and me holding down the fort here because Shannon was working. So we got all kinds of things this week, though, going on this episode of Geek Buddies. Shannon, we got so much to talk about. We got a Rian Johnson block of things to talk about. We got some fun new trailers from this week. We've got some big Dr. Doom news for Avengers Doomsday. And, of course, Brainiac has been announced as the main villain. So we're going to talk about all of that for Man of Tomorrow. We'll talk about all that here on the show. But let's not waste any time, Shannon. Let's get into it. Let's talk about this. This is starting to build momentum. I don't know if you've seen this stuff, Shannon, but this is starting to build momentum. This idea of Ben Solo coming back into the Star Wars franchise. Star Wars fans, of course, were taken by surprise by the news that a Hunt for Ben Solo film with Adam Driver had been scrapped by Disney. Adam Driver revealed this, that he was working with director Steven Soderbergh on this. And according to Driver, the film was supposed to take place after the rise of Skywalker. We all know that, right? Well, recently, Rian Johnson, who's out here promoting the latest Knives Out movie, was speaking to Collider. And when he talked about this movie, he said, "Take my money. I only know what I read about it online. I didn't know anything about it, but who knows how things are developed these days. But man, I will watch Driver in anything. I would love to see him play the character again." And of course, there were all kinds of fan reactions to this, to the point where in Hollywood, a fan named Liana Al-Alaf put out a Save the Hunt for Ben Solo banner flag that flew over the studios over there at Disney and explained her hopes for the message. Quote, "I hope this banner shows just how much the character of Ben Solo means to so many of us." And Shannon, what more is they posted wanted flyers all around Los Angeles and Burbank for Ben Solo. So do you think this is a grassroots effort do you think Adam kind of opened the door to this, and now there's a grassroots effort to bring Ben Solo into the fold? Rian Johnson now saying he'd love to see this. So do you think this has a real chance of happening down the road here in the Star Wars universe?
I think the only thing that you can compare this to historically is Zack Snyder's Justice League. And it was very different situation because we were in COVID times where people were not able to go to the theaters.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, if Warner Brothers could go back in time and change that decision, I think they would. Because ultimately, I mean, is it an infinitely better Justice League movie than we got in the theaters? Yeah, 100%. Did it help them in the long run? I don't feel like it did. Now, granted, the Hunt for Ben Solo, this would be a different situation.
Yes,
in that if this movie were to happen, and that's a big if.
Yes.
If this movie were to happen and were to, just come out and be a runaway train of success.
Yeah.
You could keep going with that character.
Right.
We have other characters established in that timeline with Rey, with Finn, with Poe. You could theoretically keep going.
Right.
So again, like Justice League, like that was a hard stop. Like they were going to finish that. That was going to be done.
Right.
Theoretically, you could continue with this, but I feel like the ship has kind of sailed. I think even now, I don't know if the creative team that put this movie together would want to go back and do it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And also, I think Star Wars is kind of, searching for their way. they think they found a path,
Right.
with Mandalorian and Grogu, with Starfighter. Is it a good path? Like, we won't know until next year. I think the idea of a Ben Solo movie is really intriguing. But from the Disney executive standpoint, the sequel trilogy financially was very successful.
Right.
But it did feel like The Rise of Skywalker kind of limped to the finish line.
Right.
Distancing themselves from that is probably what they wanted to do. And maybe that's one of the reasons this Rey movie is having such a hard time getting off the ground as well.
Yeah, I'll put up the picture here, and for our podcast listeners, I'm putting up the picture of the missing "Have you seen this man?" Ben Solo flyers that were put up all over LA and Burbank. And yesterday at 11 a.m. in the morning PT, there was a banner that flew over, a second banner that flew over Disney Studios that said "Shareholders want the hunt for Ben Solo." That was 11 a.m. yesterday. So it is a grassroots movement. I think you make an excellent point comparing it to the Zack Snyder's Justice League situation. And I think there is some comparisons that can be made here, Shannon, because a lot of people who love the Ben Solo character, like a lot of people who love Zack Snyder's Justice League, felt that the studio made a mistake in not going forward with this situation. And so they're using their grassroots power to try to make this happen. And I have to say, the Zack Snyder's Justice League thing seemed a little more far-fetched from happening than the Ben Solo thing. And I say that because I think people want this so badly, and the studio right now is in such a state of flux about what they're going to do next, that wouldn't this, if they announced a Ben Solo film and found a way to maybe grab some of what they did before and massage it into a new movie that they could fit in the timeline here somehow and come up with a way to bring him back to life? Because apparently that was the issue that Iger and Bergman had about bringing Ben Solo back. If they can find a way to figure it out, then all these people who really love Ben Solo would get excited. You'd gender some goodwill with the fans. And I think the idea of a Ben Solo film being announced, sadly true, but true, would be received with much more fanfare than the Rey movie was when it was announced, with Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy directing and Daisy Ridley coming back. I think that is a possibility because everything is so in flux. This seems more possible to me in my crazy mind than the Justice League did at the time when those hashtags started happening on the internet.
I mean, that's certainly possible. I mean, and again, I for all of my sort of mixed feelings about the sequel trilogy, Ben Solo, Kylo Ren was an intriguing enough character that if they were to continue with that story, I mean, look, it is funny that they're like, well, he died. Like, how do we do that? It's like, really?
Yeah. I mean,
do we need to show you 100 years of cinematic history? I mean, think of the search for Spock with Kylo Ren. So I did think it was amusing that was the thing that they just couldn't quite get past. But I think it would be cool. I think the days of the studio bending to the fans' will, I think that might be in our rearview mirror, because if we want to look at the results of The Rise of Skywalker, they weren't great.
Yeah, I know. You're right. You're right.
But again, I would be happy to be wrong here, though.
Yeah. No, I know that, and I'm sure our fans get that as well. But yeah, I think this would be fascinating if they were to find a way to do it. And you're right, bringing up the Spock is a great point. And look, even within what was presented in Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine found a way to clone himself. It could be possible to use that technology to clone Ben Solo. Maybe Rey wants to do that. Maybe someone else wants to do that. And so Ben Solo becomes almost like we just saw. We're about to get a whole series on Vision, which is essentially a clone of the original Vision. So the idea of cloning somebody in some way is very possible. Tom Brady just came out last week and said that his dog is a clone dog of the dog he had before. So the idea of clones being in our society is not even out of the realm of possibility anymore. So I think it's very possible to do this. But Shannon, as you said, they're going to have to walk a really high wire to make this work. And if they do bring it back, fans are going to have a shit ton of expectations. So you're going to have to meet that with what you do. So it's a daunting task. It's a tempting task, but it's a daunting task. And I don't know if I trust the current administration at Lucasfilm to be able to pull this off effectively and satisfy the audience, so we'll see. But we'll keep tabs on it. Before we leave the Rian Johnson situation, we should also talk about this, Shannon, a show that both of us enjoy, Poker Face. The announcement came that it was canceled. It has been canceled, kind of. And by that, I mean, Peacock has decided not to renew Poker Face for a third season as Natasha Lyonne exits as the star. But Rian Johnson, who is the series creator, has said that he wants to go forward with a third season and that they are shopping the show to other broadcasters for a 2-season commitment, with Peter Dinklage taking over the role of Charlie. So they wouldn't even change the character's name. They would just bring in Peter Dinklage to play this version of Charlie. Now it's becoming James Bond all of a sudden. So your thoughts on, the cancellation, and your thoughts on, will they be able to, does this make sense to shop this with Peter Dinklage, or is this more of a face-saving type of move in the end? What are your thoughts?
I mean, in terms of the cancellation, again, I don't understand how streaming, audience numbers work. The thing that was so cool about Poker Face is that it was kind of a throwback to those 80s procedurals.
Oh, so true.
In that it's it was very Incredible Hulk. Have this wandering lead character going from town to town, trying to right the wrongs of whatever's been going on. And really, part of me wishes that they would have released it on NBC, because there was no wild violence or sex. There was language, and you would have had to have edited that down. But I think maybe, because I don't know how many people have a subscription to Peacock. I do. But I feel like maybe if the show had found kind of a larger audience, because the show was fun. I mean, it was a it was a very easily digestible show.
Yep.
And so I was pretty surprised when I found out when I read the headline that it had been canceled. In terms of it being canceled, kinda, and we're gonna keep going. We're just gonna make Peter Dinklage Charlie. Yeah. I'm like, look, Peter Dinklage playing someone that has an incredible an internal lie detector. I'm like, Peter Dinklage is a great actor, very fun to watch. Would be very fun in this type of situation. I'm wondering if that the article came out a little piecemeal. Are we getting everything here?
Yeah, I know.
But I would be surprised if Netflix wouldn't take it, if Hulu wouldn't take it, Amazon Prime wouldn't take it, because again, not knowing how streaming numbers work, the show was good, and generally in streaming, the good shows do tend to go on. Now, and again, I'm sure someone in the comment is going to point out several examples where I am incorrect. But it feels like the shows that are satisfying to the audience in general, they tend to get to go on. But also the type of show that Poker Face is, you're not going to have some giant finale for it. It is a true episodic show. I mean, the end of season 1, you had a bit of a wrap up for that season, but season 2, it was literally Charlie just going around the country. In these kind of fun one-off adventures. So I'll be curious to see if they're able to pull it off, and I hope they do, because the show was a lot of fun.
You need a streaming service with big pockets, because they had some big guest stars to be part of their series over those 2 seasons. Cynthia Erivo, others being a part of it. You got to have a deep pockets, and they certainly shot in some interesting locations. So it would have to go that route. I mean, Rian Johnson, as we know, already has a connection with Netflix with the Knives Out movies that he's doing there. So I would not be surprised to see it end up at Netflix. They're probably just kicking the tires on other streaming services. Apple would make sense as well. It certainly fits into the Apple lineup of stuff if you wanted to. Although Apple doesn't really co-op other series to bring them onto their service, so that would be kind of unique in that way. But I could definitely see it ending up at Netflix much more than Hulu. And I think Peacock is making the cuts here, Shannon, because they've got to pay Tyler Sheridan a crap ton of money. So they're like, well, what's not performing where we wanted to? Let's move it aside. And I also think, and this is my personal reading of it, Natasha Lyonne is growing in power in her status in Hollywood, and she's doing that AI thing, which is she's getting some blowback on. She's becoming more of an EP. I think she's becoming a person who wants to stand on her own. And she does not want to stand next to Rian Johnson, either behind him or next to him, sharing credit. She wants to do her own thing. And I think she did a great job with Poker Face. and now wants to move on. From what I understand, Ryan wasn't the happiest about coming back to do a season 2, but did it because season 1 was so well received. And I think maybe this is a move now to kind of like move on to another situation and see if you can make it work with Peter Dinklage, which is a lot of fun as a concept. So I'm on board with this if it happens, because I'm with you. I like the show. I like the procedural nature of it. It reminded me a lot. Obviously, it's the Columbo references as well, are all throughout that show. So I would like to see it do more. And as for the amount of people who are subscribed to Peacock, right now it is 41 million, Shannon, and it has been 41 million for 3 quarters now. So they have not gone past 41 million since Q1 of 2025. So we just had Q3 of 2025 wrap up, and it was still at 41 million. So there is a steady 41 million. It's just not growing. So maybe the Taylor Sheridan stuff will make it grow, and clearly them cutting some shows hopefully will increase the growing. We will see. So yeah. Anything more on that? You want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right, let's do it. Let's take us into the world of trailers, Shannon.
You mean with trailers? So the first one, we get our first proper look, a real proper look at the Super Mario Galaxy movie. So this one came out just about 2 days ago, and you look, comparing it to the first movie, this is visually stunning.
Oh yeah.
Again, just a beautifully, beautiful looking movie. We get a fun little cameo from a tiny Bowser with the voice of Jack Black coming back. We've got Chris Pratt's Mario. We've got Charlie Day's Luigi. And we also have some new characters as well. It looks like Jack Black also voicing Bowser Jr., if I'm correct.
No, it's Benny Safdie who is doing
Bowser. It's Benny Safdie.
Yeah,
Pardon me.
Yeah.
But we also have Brie Larson coming in as Princess Rosalina, who, again, I played the OG Mario Kart, the OG Super Mario Brothers. So Princess Rosalina, I'm like, I don't know who this is. But again, the movie looks visually stunning. I did not realize that my fellow geek buddy John Rocha was such a huge fan. I was corrected a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the teaser. So, Johnny, what did you think? More importantly, as someone who was a fan of that first movie, what did you think of our first real look at the Super Mario Galaxy movie?
Yeah, I put my reaction up because I did it earlier this week. But like, as I sat and watched it more and more, I'm just so impressed at the energy of the movie, like the humor of it, like the opening. It's such a smart trailer to open with that, because people love Bowser. And so seeing Bowser as a miniature and doing the painting, I thought it reminded me, like, you know, like you hear about these old criminals who go and become painters at the end, you know, and you're like, what? This mafia guy is a painter now all of a sudden, you know? And it reminded me of Scorsese. Was it Pesci's mom who paints the dog in 2 different on the boat in Goodfellas? So like painting is something old people tend to do when they get older. And so having Bowser, who's stuck in a prison, and painting and stuff, which is what criminals tend to do sometimes, I'm not surprised by that. It's a great little moment. And the picture, I mean, come on, you know what that photo is referencing, a muscular guy like that it's so obvious what they were referencing that I thought was hilarious in that way. But as you said, the visuals of this are utterly stunning. It's so gorgeous. I love that they're opening the door to all of these lands, because I've never played the game consistently, so I have no idea what any of these lands are. I didn't know there was a Bowser Jr. So the fact that that's the storyline, that he's going to break his dad out of prison, that's very funny. How are they going to stop him? And then on the other side, was it Rosalina? I mean, I have no idea who that is, but clearly she's incredibly powerful. And having Brie Larson come in is an interesting decision, considering how people react to Brie Larson being in any geek property since the Captain Marvel debacle. I think is a fascinating decision. She's a great actress, Oscar-winning actress, so I like the idea. But even the final shots of her with the stars and stuff, I have a lot of questions, but I'm very curious to see what we're going to get storyline-wise.
Well, and did you read that article recently where she was talking about that she actually is a gamer?
Yeah, she's a massive gamer. Yeah.
That her the gentleman she was seeing at the time, I think this would have been in 2020, felt that she was devoting too much time to a Super Mario game, and she kicked him out.
Well, there you go. Exactly. As well she should.
Don't get between Carol Danvers and her games.
Yeah.
So the Super Mario Galaxy movie comes out on a very important date, 2026, April 3rd. Oh, my birthday.
There you go.
Our next trailer is one from a director that we haven't seen much from in a while, but he gave us a really impressive trilogy. And this is Gore Verbinski's Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. So this one is starring Sam Rockwell. It's got a very, very impressive cast, but it's mainly Sam Rockwell as did you ever see 12 Monkeys? It's
Basically.
a man from the future arrives at a diner in Los Angeles, a Norm's diner, if you live in Southern California, where he must recruit the precise combination of disgruntled patrons to join him on a one-night quest to save the world from the terminal threat of a rogue artificial intelligence. Sam Rockwell, always fun to see on a screen, especially when he's getting to play sort of an off-the-walls character like this.
Yeah.
Gore Verbinski, the director of the original Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy. I know everyone loves that first movie, and people like number 2 and number 3. But we haven't seen anything from Gore Verbinski probably in almost 10 years since I think A Cure for Wellness. He was attached to the BioShock movie for a long time, which didn't end up happening. But this looks like a very fun return for Gore Verbinski. But Johnny, what did you think of our first look at Good Luck? Have fun, don't die.
Yeah, there were 2 trailers this week that I had no idea what they were and who was doing them. And Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die was one of them that I thoroughly enjoyed. Like, I didn't know what to expect, and I watched it and I was like, this is fun. I thought this was going to be like a throwaway type of movie. And I guess I'd forgotten that Verbinski was involved in it until they, until I started watching the trailer. I was like, oh, wow, what an interesting decision. And this has such, how can I say this? It's kind of a cousin to Rango. And by that, I mean, like, it's kind of a small story, right? That is certainly meant to feel bigger, but it's kind of small, kind of like Attack the Block, even from Joe Wright. It has that energy to it. I love Juno Temple being a part of this, Michael Pena being a part of this. Like, the actors they got to be a part of this looks like a lot of fun. And they understand the humor within it and also the stakes within it, I thought were really good as well. So I thought this trailer put me in a good place to want to see this. This and Cold Storage. I don't know if anybody saw Cold Storage trailer. That looked like a lot of fun as well. So I love these quirky kind of medium level type movies that come out. As long as they're good, especially from great directors like Gore Verbinski, you can sit back, relax, and have a good time with these movies. And so I'm looking forward to it. And Sam Rockwell cracking me up, man. And I don't know if he's wearing a crown of thorns. I don't know what he's got in his. I mean, like, if you look at that get up there, it looks like a crown of thorns around a cap. And so who is he really? Like, that's the questions of coming from the future and all of that. Who is he really? So I love this idea, and I'm down with it. So yeah. What about you?
Well, as he stated in the movie, he comes from a post-apocalyptic future. This is the cutting edge of fashion there. I mean, again, the moment that, like, I saw the inside of the diner, I was like, I think I've been there. And then it flashed outside and it said Norms. I'm like, that's such a again, a Southern California staple. But this one also has Zazie Beetz, Haley Lou Richardson. If the effects in the trailer are any indication, Sam Rockwell is not a mentally unstable person. This seems to be a guy from the future. But Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die comes out in February. And that brings us to our last trailer. It is the first big time look at the second season of Fallout. Coincidentally, it also came out the same week as Cold Storage, which is another kind of zombie themed film. But this second season, we're getting more of everything that we loved the first season. Mainly, I'm going to assume Walton Goggins, the ghoul. But in this one, we get some Elvis themed ghouls, zombies, creatures of the wasteland. We get more from the Vaulties. We get more Zach Cherry. We get more Ella Purnell. This show was, again, having not played the game, having known of the game, knowing the guy with the wink and the thumbs up, having not played the game, the show was just so immersive in the world that they created. And Ella Purnell is one of those performers who had been around a long time that you certainly recognize, but I feel like Fallout is really where she started to get her finger on the button of audiences. So I was a big fan of how this looked. I mean, there's more kind of weird mutated zombie stuff going on. Someone's got a mouth in their collarbone. Looked horrifying. Johnny, what did you think of our first big time look at the second season of Fallout?
Yeah, I'm with you. I never played the game. So the first season was all discovering what goes on in these vaults and the worlds and the twists of these characters and the storylines. So much fun, so engaging. And so I was excited to see what we're going to get in this trailer. And I was not disappointed at all. It's certainly bigger in scope. We're going to New Vegas. Justin Theroux is apparently playing a very big character in the game, who is the owner of Robco, which is who got involved behind all and runs New Vegas. So what are they going to discover there? And he's clearly going to be the main villain, it seems like. Then you got this young kid showing up in the trailer. He's joining the crew. Aaron Moten still doing his thing. Kumail Nanjiani coming in. So there's going to be a war apparently. So what is that going to lead to in terms of the war? Who's going to get involved in what? And Ella Purnell and Walton Goggins, so good in their chemistry, so good with their separate storylines in the trailer. And he's searching for his family, the ghoul. I mean, I don't know the story in the game. So does he find his wife? Does he find his daughter? Have they moved on without him? What's going on? Are they alive? Are they not alive? What is the deal there? So I have a feeling we're being set up for kind of a Last of Us type of ending with that family situation. So I'm like kind of bracing myself to see where that goes. But Kyle MacLachlan back as well as one of the main villains. I mean, he is so fun. And for those of you who don't know, he has his own YouTube show now and podcast now, and it's really funny and quirky and weird. This guy is an adult and a child at the same time, and when you watch his show, it is a joy. And look, it's not getting that many views, but he's getting big guests to come on there to sit down with him and talk, and it's so much fun. He's so quirky, and so him with that malevolent smile of his throughout the trailer, there's a charm and a joy to him playing that character that makes you want to see it. And what's going to happen when Ella finally catches up to him? The character that Ella Purnell is playing catches up to him and confronts him. I mean, arresting your dad is a whole thing. Plus, her brother is back in the vault. So what's he discovering there to give more context to what went on there? So there's so much to explore, and they're opening the door to it all here in this trailer and bringing us new characters with new storylines that are like Macaulay Culkin. So that's fun to see Culkin back in doing something. So yeah, I'm crazy excited for this one, dude. I really am.
Well, the second season of Fallout is starting not too far away, December 17th on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I hope to get those real soon. Real quick, Shannon, I know we got to jump two big other topics. I got to ask you this. Christopher Nolan released pictures of the Odyssey. What are your feelings here? You like the primal Matt Damon? You like the Trojan horse? You like these shots? Are these getting you excited for the movie, or is this like, these are standard shots and I'm waiting for the film? What are your reactions?
I think they are kind of standard shots. I mean, anytime there's an interpretation of what the Trojan horse looked like, a lot of times it looks like a regular kind of wooden horse with wheels.
Yeah.
What they've done with this design, I mean, I think that's really unique. We've never seen, or at least I've never seen something like that before.
Right.
Knowing that they are leaning into the epicness of what Christopher Nolan brings to a film. Yeah. And you're hearing all these stories about the more mythological elements, which again is not something he usually touches on in his films. His films tend to be much more real world. I'm really excited to see what these ancient Greek monsters and what these ancient Greek gods and goddesses are going to look like in this world. And knowing that he wanted to do as many things practically as he can. So like, what does the Cyclops look like in through the lens of Christopher Nolan? I'm super excited, and I think they are probably holding their cards very close to the vest on this. The Odyssey is actually, it's been shooting. I think they're done, but they've been shooting on the Universal backlot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I forget what the code name was, but periodically you'd see a golf cart go by with the code name on it. It's like, you're gonna go work with a monster right now. So, I mean, I'm excited to see it, but I'm most excited right now to see that first real trailer, not the little teaser where we see Matt Damon on a piece of driftwood.
Right, exactly. And Pattinson, my master. I thought these images were great. I love the Trojan horse shot. I mean, that just shows you the kind of cinematography and scope that he is playing with, Nolan, that we're in great hands. And that shot of Damon, I want to bring it up again. That shot of Damon. I mean, this is the most manliest we've seen Damon in quite some time. He's done a lot of character work over the years. Even in the last Duel, he wasn't as roguish, masculine energy like he's radiating in these shots. And I, for one, who am a massive fan of Matt Damon, it's great to see him kind of embracing that. And Nolan even said that shooting the film was like a primal experience with Matt Damon. So I like when he gets challenged as an actor to go to those places, because Damon never disappoints when he does that. And so I'm excited to see it. And just the energy coming off of this is epic. This is like fucking Gladiator, Lawrence of Arabia, Ben-Hur. It's got that 10 Commandments, it's got that massive energy. So I can't wait to see it when we get a trailer, as you said, Shannon. All right, let's move on to some Doctor Doom stuff, Shan. Let's talk about it. This was a big deal that dropped here just yesterday. And initially, let me report Daniel RPK. He's the guy who dropped a scoop on Twitter and on X, whatever you want to call it. He stated that Avengers Doomsday will feature multiple variants of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, one of which will be a female version of the villain. But last night, I had a person who is a very connected person to this stuff send me a scoop on the hot mic, and I stated that there will be at least 2 female Doctor Dooms. One will have a purple cloak and a golden mask, and the other one will have a gold cloak and a mask. And then apparently there are multiple Doctor Dooms in the film. So some of these actors who are playing these characters that we know that we know from the MCU will possibly be playing Doctor Dooms in other universes as the same characters from Earth 616. So this feels to me, at the end of the day, Shannon, female or male, it feels to me like they are grafting on the Council of Kangs thing and just putting on Doctor Dooms instead of Kangs. So what are your thoughts on the different types of Doctor Dooms we might be getting, female Doctor Dooms, and the idea that we could be just kind of morphing Council of Kangs into a Council of Dooms?
Yeah, that was kind of my thought as well. Is like, if this is in fact accurate, that you're going to have all these kind of just variants. I mean, the fact that they use that term variant of Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that really lines up with what we know from the comics. And granted that they're doing their own thing. I mean, the MCU has done that from the beginning. And personally, I feel mostly with the success, but some not as successful. I forget which miniseries it was that Doctor Doom went around and he actually went out and killed one of his own variants.
Yeah.
Like Doctor Doom working with other Dooms, like for me, that doesn't quite work. And who's to say that they're actually going to work together? I mean, and I know in one of the scoops, I can't remember if it was yours or Daniel RBK's, but they were talking about whether these Dooms were going to be Doom bots or members of like the Doom Cult or the Latvian government.
Right.
Like the Doom bots totally make sense. Like again, like connecting to Tony Stark with the Iron Legion, the idea that Doom would have all of these robotic versions of himself, I think makes total sense. I think when you get into multiple variants and some of them are female, to me this sounds very busy in a film that already is going to be stuffed to the brim with stuff. I mean, I think you introduce all these Doom variants. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, it could it be accurate? 100%. And it could be 2 minutes of the movie. I mean, that's the thing, is a lot of times we are, and this happened a lot with the MCU Spider-Man movies, is someone be like, oh, this villain. You find out like, oh, they're in like, they're part of the Vulture's crew. I mean, they play such a small part. So, we're getting this information in a vacuum. But I don't know. I mean, again, Doomsday, as excited as I am to see what this trailer is when it comes out with Avatar, Doomsday, it's a big question mark. I mean, just the state of the MCU, all of the pivots they've had to make in the multiverse saga. Will they be able to pull this off? I mean, bringing RDJ back to play Doom, and they say it makes total sense. This is not one Hail Mary pass. This is a Hail Mary game, it seems like. So again, it's all a big question mark right now.
I mean, when I got this from my source, I was like, this makes sense because, and I'll say this, God, I gotta say this carefully, right? Like, RDJ has a healthy ego, and if you're going to bring back a Doctor Doom and he's going to play him, having multiple versions of Doctor Doom out there is an extension of his character, right? And so everyone's going to be talking about Doctor Doom. Everyone is going to be dealing with Doctor Doom, everyone in different universes. I think you're so right to say that this is a lot and this is dangerous, because all I can think of is the end of The Flash with all those planets coming together and different Supermans. Like, that's what I'm seeing in my mind for right now. And it makes me worried, right? And I think it's fun. It's a fun thing to have multiple Doctor Dooms, right? But it would be fun in a TV series, like an animated series or maybe even live action series if you were to do one. So you can spread it out. The fact that they're shoving this into one movie, all these different Dooms, is fascinating because will they have enough time to kind of establish themselves, or is it just a quirky little like wink and a nod to this Doom being of this universe and this Doom's being played by like say Brie Larson or Gwyneth Paltrow or Sam Rockwell? Like, is that the Doom in that universe? So how many Dooms and how is this going to come into play? And, you know, and they're grafting on what seems like the Council of Kings thing, but it seems a little bit like they're also doing Secret Invasion. Don't you feel that way as well, Shannon? Like they're like, well, we have all this, we had this idea for the Skrulls. Well, everybody hated Secret Invasion, so we're not going to go forward with that. Well, what's a way to mix both the Kangs and Secret Invasion? We'll just have multiple Doctor Dooms, and they're going to be hiding out on Earth 616 as different as the characters you think they are, but then they reveal themselves as Doom. So there's a lot of ways that this can go that can really not work and fall apart because it's such a big swing. It's such a big swing to have so many Doctor Dooms be involved in this. So yeah, the more I hear about this, Shannon, the more I think like it's the bottom of the ninth. It's 2 strikes and 3 balls, a full count. And he is standing there with our superstar is standing there with a massive bat. This is Casey at the bat. And we know in that poem, Casey missed. So will this actually connect? I don't know, because it's a hell of a thing they're putting out there. It excites me on one side, but it also makes me super worried on the other side.
Yeah, it's again, getting this information in a vacuum. It's difficult.
Right. We don't have a context to put it in. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I remember reading a scoop from Endgame, like years and years ago.
Yeah.
And most of what the scooper said was right. But because of the way the information was being presented, it wasn't being presented in terms of a narrative. It was being presented as here's this thing from the script and here's this thing from the script.
Right.
And it didn't sound good. To the point that it sounded fake. And I'm like, I don't know if that's real.
Yeah.
Turns out the scooper was entirely correct. And just the way the information was being presented, again, being as a story, everything super worked. So could this work? Absolutely. I mean, Marvel, despite, where they are currently, the team that put the most of the phase 3 is like really when the Marvel machine took off. I mean, like Avengers was a huge movie, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, like you had some big movies, but it was starting in phase 3 that it was like everyone was just if not a critical banger, it was a financial banger. Right. So it's a lot of the same people that put that stuff together. So it would be foolhardy to count them out. Yeah. But again, when we're being presented with some of these, wild ideas for us as an audience, and we've digested some wild ideas. Yeah, it's tough for an audience for us to kind of put it together in our heads and make sense. But at the end of the day, we're not the ones telling the story; they are. Right. So again, this all could make perfect sense. Yeah, within the context of the story they're telling, and I'm not as knowledgeable on the Doctor Doom variants or Doctor Doom bots or anything. Like the fact that my source said to me the color schemes of the capes, I don't know the significance of that, right? I know Doctor Doom, as I've always known him, has a green cape and a hoodie green cape. So what is the significance of the different color schemes of the capes? Is that to indicate like, a certain character from the MCU that we've known to have certain colors, and then that's the extension of their version of Doctor Doom in that alternate universe? Or do these capes signify something else related to the Infinity Stones or something? Like there's all kinds of places I go in my mind of what these capes could signify, why that's a big deal. Because my source made it a big deal that the colors matter. Like they didn't want to specify why, but they said the colors of these capes and the mask and all this stuff matter. So I'm curious to see how that fits in the context of what they're telling in terms of the story. So yeah, and you're right, Shannon. We're getting all this piecemeal. We don't have it all in context. We keep hearing now that they're shooting, like Christian said on the show the other day, they're shooting reportedly 30 versions of the trailers to throw people off because of leaking stuff all the time. I'm sure from the trailer houses, people leak stuff. So they're editing 30 versions of it. So we don't know what's real, what isn't. And certainly that happened with Infinity War and Endgame when they released those trailers. Some of those images never showed up. So
we have to take all of this stuff with a little bit of a grain of salt, even the stuff that I'm revealing through sources or Daniel's doing or other scoopers. It's like you have to take it with a grain of salt till we see the overall thing. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and part of me is just like, I'm not saying like open up the faucet and let let everything run, but if things leak, get tongues wagging. You know?
Yeah.
Because what's worse than being bad is being forgotten.
Yes,
And
you're right.
And granted, I don't want a bad movie. I mean, we've gotten our share of unsatisfying films in the multiverse saga. Like, I want a good movie, but most importantly, I want the MCU to remain relevant.
Yeah.
And there is the argument to make that it is not.
Right. Yeah, that's an excellent point, Shannon. You're right. Right now, it certainly doesn't feel like it. All right, let's move on to our final story. Our big story here, of course, it was revealed, unless you've been living under a rock for the 24 hours, it was revealed on the wrap by Humberto Gonzalez that something that all of us had speculated that was the truth. Brainiac will be the main villain and Man of Tomorrow, here directed by James Gunn. There was no other announcement beyond this from Humberto Gonzalez about who might be playing Brainiac, but Grace Randolph posted some images of people that she says, I hear one of these actors is tested for Brainiac, and it would make me so happy he got it, but they're still auditioning more actors. David Hyde Pierce, Wallace Shawn, and I don't know the actor's name, but the guy from Bad Sisters season 1, who was a villain, and he played Dracula in a series that's on a streaming service somewhere. He auditioned for it as well. So, Shannon, your thoughts on Brainiac finally being officially the villain, and who might be playing him, and these suggested people that might be playing him?
So I don't think it's Wallace Shawn.
Yeah. Let's put that in. Maybe in a young Sheldon dream sequence or something. Yeah.
I think the idea that David Hyde Pierce could be Brainiac, I'm like, oh, maybe. I mean, of the three, I think it's the actor from Bad Sisters, because that is such a specific pull, and David Hyde Pierce and Wallace Shawn are so recognizable, at least to American audiences.
Right.
And I think the actor's name is Claes. I think it's Claes Bang.
Okay.
But great actor. Great bad guy.
He was so good in Bad Sisters season 1. Yeah.
Now, personally, I thought they might go a little more movie star-ish.
Yeah.
Just because, David Cornsweet, prior to Superman, not a movie star.
Right.
Rachel Brosnahan, TV star. Nicholas Hoult, I wouldn't say he was a movie star. Like, he's definitely an A-list actor, but I wouldn't put him under the movie star umbrella just yet.
Yeah.
So the idea that they would go someone like English actor, mainly known to English audiences,
right?
That was a little surprising. I thought they would stunt cast it a little bit more, but he is a great actor.
Yeah.
Is he the best that is out there? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I kind of look at his potential casting to Ralph Ineson with Galactus.
Yeah.
And I feel like Brainiac is going to have a larger part to play than Galactus had. I mean, Galactus was in what, three big sequences, three big scenes.
Yeah.
And I thought Ralph Ineson did a great job, but I think prior to his announcement, we were all speculating that it was going to be someone who was probably a little more well known.
Yeah.
And I would put Claes Bang and Ralph Ineson kind of at the same level.
I would agree with that.
But in terms of it being confirmed that he's going to be the villain, I mean, I didn't think of that. Again, that wasn't a huge surprise, especially since James Gunn showed us the cover art to his script, where it's guy with a brain. It's very difficult to be like, well, it's clearly someone whose intellect is known. It'll also be interesting to see which version of Brainiac they do. I mean, is this the green skin Brainiac with the purple shirt and the underoos? Is this the total silver robotic looking Brainiac? Is it going to be some sort of combination of the two? I mean, in my head, I thought they would have gone a little younger.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking like Alexander Skarsgård. Right. Lakeith Stanfield, someone in their late 30s to late 40s. I mean, based off of the three pictures, again, I guess we'll just talk about Claes Bang. I believe he's almost 60.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if this is mainly going to be a computer generated performance, if you're just using this, I mean, I guess doesn't really matter physically what the person can do. But if Claes Bang is in fact the guy who's gonna play Brainiac, I mean, again, great bad guy.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating to look at Grace's post because it gives you an idea of like the kind of, how can I say this? The kind of actor they're looking for to fit in the Superman saga, right? If you're looking for a Brainiac that is the R-rated Brainiac that you've occasionally glimpsed in the comics and whatever, you're not going to find him here. This is going to be a Brainiac that is certainly powerful, is certainly an immense threat, so much so that, as James Gunn said, Superman and Lex Luthor are going to come together to combat him. But you're not going to get like Daniel Day-Lewis to play this Brainiac, right? Like, even though that would be an amazing get, it's going to be someone who can play humor within that vibe that he has laid out, James Gunn has, in this version of the Superman saga, right? It's not going to be someone who's going to play it straight drama down the line. So you're going to have a Brainiac that will make little comments or asides or jokes. And look, we've seen that in the comics. I'm not trying to say Brainiac hasn't been a sarcastic smartass in the comics at times. So the fact that you have Wallace Shawn and David Hyde Pierce and Claes Bang, that to me shows me the kind of energy they're looking for. I would be surprised if it's someone like Claes Bang, as you said, because he's not that well known. And I do think they do. If this is Brainiac, you don't want to go with someone who is a character actor that people don't know. Like, I think that would be a mistake. Myself personally, I think that would be a mistake. I want someone that is an incredible actor that can play comedy and drama. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do, because this is the first time that we're getting a Brainiac on screen ever in a theatrical sense, right? We've had a Brainiacs before, the animated wise. And I don't know if it was in Smallville or Superman and Lois, but like, we haven't seen it on the big screen. And so I think you got to come out with someone who is really a powerful actor that can play that character so well, especially because we have to believe that Superman and Lex Luthor are putting down their issues with each other, including Lex Luthor shooting Superman's friend in the head right in front of him. They have to put away those issues between each other in order to come together and go after. So the threat has to be conveyed that strongly that they are motivated to put down their issues to work together against Brainiac. And I don't think Claes Bang makes me want to put down my issues with anybody to go after him. You know, no offense to Claes, who consistently works, but so to me, I have to look at someone else to be a part of this, I would think. Am I crazy?
No, I mean, I think getting a bigger name movie star, but someone who also is willing to go on the ride.
That, yeah, right.
Yes. Yeah. If you're in Man of Tomorrow, more than likely they want you to be available down the line for their future projects. And I did look up, so I hope I'm pronouncing his name correct. I'm probably not, but he is of Danish descent. And he is 58. But it also made me think of a fellow Dane, which is Mads Mikkelsen. Like, if Mads Mikkelsen were announced as Brainiac, who is 59, that makes total sense to me. I mean, like, because looking at Brainiac in sort of that binary good and evil, that's not really what Brainiac is. Brainiac is would I say Brainiac's gray? It's like, he's not your normal bat. Is he evil? No. He has a program.
Yes.
That he's doing a thing. And if you get in the way of him doing the thing, he's going to take you out.
Right.
So you need to have that sort of icy intellectual distance.
Yeah.
That you would get from like a computer. And Mads Mikkelsen, to me, certainly reads that way. I mean, Claes Bang does read that way. Sure. But also, again, like, I keep going to Lakeith Stanfield. I think he would be a really interesting choice. I think Javier Bardem would be an interesting choice. Yeah. I mean, Javier Bardem was one of the guys I'm like, make him Galactus. I mean, like,
they were looking at him Galactus, but couldn't afford him. Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see which way they go with it, because Lex thinks he's right.
Right.
And Brainiac, it's not right or wrong. It just is.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%. And I was looking at the Brainiac story as you were talking, and one of the things that in the write up that World of Real did, that Jordan did, he said something here. For those unfamiliar, Brainiac ranks as one of Superman's most enduring adversaries. Over the decades, he's been reinvented as everything from an alien overlord to a rogue AI, certainly very topical nowadays, and more recently as a creation of Jor-El himself as sort of a dark brother figure to Kal-El. So, I mean, we've seen Bradley Cooper tell Kal-El to have harems and whatever. Like, could it be Bradley Cooper? Could that have been an AI of Brainiac, and Bradley Cooper is Brainiac? That it fits your time 30s to 40s guy. We've already seen him. He's a big superstar actor. It could be interesting that is not actually Superman's parents, that was a bit of a swerve, and he's actually Brainiac. Someone bookmark this time, and if it ends up being Bradley Cooper, I will take all the credit for it. But no, I mean, there's possibilities there. But some of the other names, Jacob Elordi, Vin Diesel, I forget the actor's name who plays the high evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Chakudi Iwuji.
Okay, he's a possibility. I've seen Bill Skarsgård as a possibility. Rami Malek as a possibility. Michael C. Hall, Fassbender. I mean, there are so many possible. Matt Smith, which would be really curious. And people have gone so far as to even suggest Jason Isaacs. So are there any of the names that you see dancing around out there, or Jude Law or Matthew Good? What do you think of my Bradley Cooper possibility? And what do you think about all these other names? Any of these other names stand out to you?
I think your Bradley Cooper theory is really interesting, and I don't think that is what it is.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
But I do like where your head is. I mean, that's that sort of long-term, long game storytelling. I'm like, hey, that's really interesting. If we find out that Jor-El was actually really good, and this isn't your dad. No. Like this is a computer simulation of someone that was programmed to get to you.
Right.
I think most of the names you mentioned there are, and again, it depends on what they visually what they do with them, and character-wise what they do with them. I wouldn't put Vin Diesel up there. I think that time has probably it was brief and it is past.
Yeah.
But like Matt Smith, paint that guy's face green. I mean, put some purple lights on his head. I mean, I think Matt Smith looks great. Jacob Elordi, my wife and I were watching Frankenstein. She hadn't seen it yet. And I think Jacob Elordi has been quoted as like, I don't want to be in a superhero movie. Like, I don't want to do that. But if you look at sort of like the dark brother of Kal-El, I mean, visually, you put Jacob Elordi next to David Cornsweet, is like, oh yeah, you both tall, real good looking guys. Like there's an interesting case to be made there. Fassbender, I wouldn't go to. I'm like, I think let him hang up his Magneto cape. Let him go race his cars in Europe. But there are a lot of interesting ideas. I mean, Jason Isaacs is another guy that I don't know if he's sick of playing heavies,
right?
But he plays a great bad guy. And again, all I think about with Brainiac is just that cold distance. Who can play like they have no life behind their eyes. That's like a great white shark.
I mean, Sean Harris, I saw that name as well. I think he's one of Richard Harris's kids. Am I wrong? I think so. But Sean Harris was a great villain in the Mission Impossible series. I think Rogue Nation was the one he was in. I think that's an interesting choice as well.
Oh yeah, Rogue Nation. I think he was in Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation.
Both, right. I mean, like I like the energy. He was good in Green Knight as well with Dev Patel. So I like the energy he could bring. As maybe I don't really see him in the Clay's Bang. I think he's a little bit higher up in terms of what he can do. So I think that could be a lot of fun. But can he play the humor in certain moments? I don't know if I've seen him do that. I mean, Jude Law is curious. I don't know if they would do that, but I'm kind of surprised at how many people are suggesting Michael C. Hall, Shannon online. Like, I don't understand the suggestion of Michael C. Hall. No offense to Michael C. Hall, certainly leading Dexter and all of that, but like, I just don't know if that's necessarily the choice. You want someone that's going to kind of radiate that fear, I like your Lakeith Stanfield. I like your Lakeith Stanfield suggestion. That's a good one too.
I mean, ever since he was talked about as a possible Norin Rad,
Yeah.
that we thought
Yeah.
maybe Norin Rad was going to pop up in Fantastic Four. I'm kind of like, yeah. I mean, there was I think we were there for it. It was Comic-Con in like 2015 or something,
Yeah.
where he was there for the Netflix panel, and he didn't come off that great. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if he's like a good dude in real life. But in terms of just this sort of detached, higher than thou personification,
Yeah.
I'm like, I think he would have that. I mean, I've never seen Lakeith Stanfield turn in a bad performance.
Yeah. I agree.
Even in a small role like Knives Out, like he stood out. Like there was
Right.
something about him. There was something about his relationship with Daniel Craig. But I also feel, but I don't know, maybe this is the type of thing that he wouldn't want to do. I mean,
Yeah.
it feels like maybe he could have made that leap at some point. Maybe he tried it with Haunted Mansion and it's kind of like, you know,
yeah.
acting in front of a green screen. That's not really my, idea of fun.
Let me throw another name out there that I saw, and I was like, oh, I didn't think about this. Dave Bautista. He has said that he wants to work with James Gunn. Him and James Gunn say there's rumors that they've been talking about him coming into the DC universe. Big dude, bald dude, put green skin on. We've seen different color skin on him and as Drax. You could see him play the humor and the threat and still fit within the James Gunn universe as he did in Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, Batista would be an interesting choice. Am I off on that? What do you think?
I think he's an interesting choice, but I think there are similarities between Brainiac and Drax in terms of the lack of metaphorical speech.
Yeah.
Everything is kind of straightforward, but I mean, again, just visually thinking of him, like, yeah, that would make sense. But I don't know. I feel like you would want a bigger star than Batista. But again, if what Grace Randolph posted is correct, then maybe celebrity stature is not what they're looking for.
I mean, I've seen Owen Wilson out there. I don't know if Owen Wilson.
Oh wow. It's a brain.
I tried.
People say I was a maniac, but I got a big brain. I'm a brainiac.
Where are the harems? I told you to make harems. Anyway, I think it could be interesting overall. All right. Any final words on this, Shannon? Let's wrap it up here. Any final words on Brainiac and what you think we might be getting here, or who might be playing? Anything?
I mean, the final words is like I don't think any of us have any idea in terms of what we're going to get. I just hope that the fun that we had with the first Superman film, that they are able to continue it and expand it.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. All right, well, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We hope you enjoyed our show earlier this week as well. If you missed it, it is up there on the channel or wherever you download podcasts. The Geek Buddies are their own podcast feed. And thanks to everybody who is watching or listening to us right now. Shannon, what do we have to tell these wonderful people?
Yeah, I'd like to follow us on social media. On Twitter, it's @geek_buddies. On Instagram, @the_geek_buddies. If you'd like to follow me on social media, on Twitter, it's @Shannon_McClung. On Instagram, it's Shannon the Geek Buddy. If you'd like to follow the absent Mr. Vogel, it is @MK2. And if you'd like to follow the always present Mr. Rocha, it is @The Rocha Says.
Thank you. And of course, as I said, please remember to subscribe to the channel right here and hit that bell button so you see we're dropping all the content that we do here on the channel. Let us know your thoughts on all the subjects we talked about, all the trailers we discussed, those pictures from the Odyssey, everything we went over earlier in the show here talking. What else did we talk about the Kylo Ren situation? What do you think is going to happen with that? The Poker Face cancellation and the Doctor Doom stuff. What are your thoughts on all of that? Let us know down in the comment section below. And if you subscribe to the podcast, and really, I would love it if you all subscribe, that we would love it also, so we get more people on there. We'd appreciate it madly. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you download podcasts. And to everyone who has subscribed, thank you so much. Please leave your reviews and your comments for the podcast on those streams as well. It helps us raise in visibility and help sponsors come and sponsor our show all the more. All right. Thank you guys. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Have a great weekend. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of the
Geek Buddies! Hey!